For residential and commercial construction services you can trust, call Delta Contracting and Design Incorporated in Strattonville today at 814-764-5506. Or if it's concrete and excavating work you need done, then call Ace Concrete and Excavating at 814-764-5551. More on both Delta Contracting and Design and Ace Concrete and Excavating can be found at delcondesign.com. That's DELCON design.com. As you approach retirement, it is important to accumulate assets and build a financial plan that can sustain your lifestyle during your golden years. While calculating the cost of your changing income needs can be daunting, our Retirement Income Evaluator can help you develop a roadmap for the future. To learn more, stop by our office located at 162 South 2nd Avenue in Clarion. Give us a call at 814-223-9990 or visit JanneyClarion.com. Janney Montgomery Scott, LLC, member NYSE, FINRA, and SIPC. Looking for affordable auto, home, and life insurance? Look no further than Allstate Insurance, the David Jones Agency in Clarion and Meadville. At the David Jones Agency, you get personalized attention from someone who lives where you do. The David Jones Agency meets you where you are. They are available during regular business hours, Monday through Friday at their office, via appointment at the office after hours, or remotely. The David Jones Agency also offers investment opportunities, including annuities and IRAs. The David Jones Agency can be reached in Clarion at 814-223-4000 and in Meadville at 814-337-5107. Buying, selling, or building a home? Then call Burford and Henry Real Estate today at 814-227-7355. For more than 15 years, Burford and Henry Real Estate Realtors have been ready to help you in your next property search. They are also the #1 agency selling more homes in the region than anyone else. And with their Showcase Homes divisions, their expert consultants can help you with building the home of your dreams. Check out Burford and Henry online at burfordandhenry.com. Burford and Henry Real Estate Services, something different. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the QR Coaches Chalkboard Show, presented by Janney Montgomery Scott in Clarion, also brought to you by Showcase Homes, Dave Jones Agency with locations in Meadville and Clarion, and Delta Contracting and Design. I'm Chris Rossetti. He's Jess Quinn. We're here at Clarion High School after the Clarion Bobcats ran right past the DuBois Central Catholic Cardinals 69-45. And just that game really changed in the third quarter when Clarion put on a zone press that they're not necessarily using a lot this year, but when they used it tonight, it really worked well.
I think it really did, Chris. I was watching, throughout the first half and a lot in the first quarter. I thought DCC came out and had a lot of energy, and right away Clarion didn't match it. But through the second, they come out at halftime, they put on that zone press, and DCC did not handle it well. They got lots of turnovers in the third, turning it into easy transition points on the other end. Dawson Smale, Devin Lauer, they really played that defense well. They got steals, they got easy layups on the other end, and really expanded on what was a 10-point lead at halftime.
No question. And people might have saw me looking at my phone there. I'm just looking for the other scores for folks here. Johnsonburg 66-34 over Northern Potter in a 7-2 match. I'm really no surprise there. And then in the 5-4 game, that really didn't end up being a real close game either, as Cameron County defeated Union 52-39. So that sets our semifinal field. It'll be the Cameron County Red Raiders and the Elk County Catholic Crusaders, and the Johnsonburg Rams and the Clarion Bobcats. I'm not really surprised that that's what the matchups are going to be. Are you at all?
Not really. Knowing what each team brings to the table, what we saw tonight in Clarion is their ability to run, and their athleticism. You turn around and you look at Johnsonburg, and that literally that clamp down defense that they play is just outstanding. And then you look at, of course, ECC having the bye. And then you look at what Cameron County does year in and year out. They play just so fast. They can slow it down. They can speed it up. They can do a lot of different things. They can shoot the ball really well. So in my mind, Chris, and I'm not, disrespecting anybody, but it doesn't there are no surprises, I don't think, in this semifinal set.
Yeah, just taking a look there at the stats from that Cameron County Union game. Ryan Schaefer with 20 and Josh Smith with 19. And that's kind of been what they've been about all year. They usually have two guys that score the basketball and score the basketball in bunches. Sometimes it's Landon Fair and sometimes it's the two guys that scored tonight. Josh Beard gets involved a little bit too, but that's it. I had a chance to watch Cameron County and Clarion play way back at the Punxsutawney Christmas tournament. That came down to a last-second shot. You know a little bit about Johnsonburg and what they like to do. Boy, is Cole Peterson in his first year really has the Rams playing well.
He really does, and to be honest, I think that they remind me a lot of like the way that CL plays. Okay. Just athletic and in your face defense. They really play very, very physical. And that's what scares me a little bit with Clarion, although they handled their defense tonight, the defense of the Cardinals. They handled it very, very well, Chris. And if they can flip that and put the defensive pressure with that zone trap and their full court man-to-man, and it doesn't tire Clarion out, I really think that is going to be a fantastic game.
It was 44-14, by the way, at halftime. Johnsonburg, they had I think 12 different guys, 9 to 12 different guys scored tonight. Nobody really stood out. It's pretty balanced. It's kind of like a glorified scrimmage, though. Do you worry as a coach when you play in a game like that, where it's a 30-point game at halftime, that you might develop some bad habits?
Not really. It's playoff time, and I think the boys, the coaching staff there has them playing well, coming off the win against ECC, and doing the things that they need to do. I really think that they can take that momentum into the Clarion game and not really have any ill effects from a 30-point win.
And then, of course, Elk County Catholic, people are like, where's Elk County Catholic? Well, Elk County Catholic got a bye tonight. Probably a good thing if you're the Crusaders coming off of the AML title game loss to Johnsonburg, which really, I guess, puts this whole A bracket into an interesting territory. I think going into last Saturday, everybody thought Elk County Catholic was the going away favorite, but obviously that's not the case. I kind of like their matchup against Cameron at the end of the day. I just think that there's a lot of history there. Mm-hmm. Cameron's going to have to overcome the mental aspect, I think, more than even the physical aspect there.
I think that that's right. And literally, they can't fall into the trap of turning the ball over. Obviously, as a coach, as anybody that watches the game, the more turnovers you have, obviously, you've got to overcome that. But the mental state, the physically, someone's in your face, things like that. You turn the ball over, that is very, very hard to overcome, especially against a good disciplined team like Elk County.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if they take anything away from the tape that Johnsburg put on. Johnsburg put on a little bit of a junk defense on the Crusaders in that championship game, and we're able to do a few things with it. But boy, at the same time, Aaron Straub's now had a week, it'll be over a week of preparation for something like that. I got to figure that whatever Johnsonburg put on film, Elk's looking at more than even any of their opponents.
Well, I really think, Chris, sometimes, you can look at it two ways. You can look at a loss late in the season, whether it's, in your league championship or something like that, going into the districts. You can use that as a lot of fuel. You know what I mean? And maybe it was a check that, we're not just going to walk through this bracket and be crowned the single A champs in District 9. It kind of is a reset button, I think. And Aaron Straub, Coach Straub up there, is going to use every bit of this to his advantage. And, looking at what they have to do and come into the game against Cameron County, I really believe that they're going to be ready and poised to put their best foot forward.
Let's skip backwards or forward, depending on how you want to look at it, and take a look at that girls A bracket. We had the quarterfinals are set for tomorrow now. Right here on the YDL Sports Network, we'll have Port Allegany and DuBois Central Catholic. That's a 6-3 game. DuBois Central Catholic going through a little bit of illness right now. It'll be interesting to see if they can get their players healthy by tomorrow. Port Allegany coming off of a disappointing loss in the semifinals of the NTL playoffs. You got to figure that Jamie Evans is taking exactly what you're talking about, some time to maybe refocus some things. Also, you have the 8-seeded Otto Eldred Terrors going to Elk County Catholic. That was not a game the first time around. As great of a job as I think Sean Gray's done with a young team, I think it's a bad matchup for them tomorrow. Elk County Catholic, when they play the way they did against Red Bank at Red Bank on February 2nd, Jess, that's a team that can contend for a state title.
I really believe so, because anytime you can do what they did, playing at Red Bank, and we know the talent that Red Bank has with the Bond girls and Harmon, everybody they have down there. I really think if they can keep the momentum, and it wasn't that long ago what they did there, I really think that they contend, Chris. I mean, they really can contend.
No question. The 10-2 game, Northern Potter, I don't even want to call it an upset against Oswego last night. They beat them 2 out of 3 times this year. So they're going to have to travel to Ridgeway. That's a really good Ridgeway team that I've seen this year as well. Jenna Kesmersky, Gabby Amaker, just a lot of really good players on that Ridgeway team. They're kind of just lurking in the weeds a little bit. I think a team that could definitely make some noise and push Elk County. They've seen Elk County a few times. They know what Elk County's got, and I think it's a team that could really push.
What I really like about them is their ability to play team basketball. If you look, there isn't one person that is going to, take over everything. And they play well. They play well together. They're tough defensively. They move the ball well. They spread it around. And I tell you what, like you said, they have that experience. They have that history with Elk County, and I think that could be, like you said, lurking in the weeds. I really like that, but because they have that ability to sneak up on them, and if Elk County doesn't put their best foot forward, it could happen.
And then there's a 5-4 matchup in Clarion County that's really interesting. Two teams that know a lot about each other that have played twice this year. Clarion and North Clarion. North Clarion won the 2 regular season matchups. But I don't necessarily feel like North Clarion's playing its best basketball right now. They struggled down the stretch. They lost to Brookville at Brookville down the stretch. They lost a game that they really shouldn't have to Montauk, where they had a 16-point lead with 5 minutes to go, or with 7 minutes to go, and lost the game. And then they lost to Karn City in a game where they took the lead with 8 seconds and then kind of inexplicably didn't pressure the basketball and allowed Brooklyn Taylor to bring it all the way up the court, all the way into the corner to shoot a 3-pointer. You've got to wonder if their confidence levels is waning a little bit.
Anytime you have a basketball player, an athlete like Lily Homan on the floor, it gives you a definite advantage. And knowing their coach the way that I do, I think that they're going to be ready. I know, we talked about DCC girls going through a little bit of an illness, and I know that earlier in the week that was happening with Clarion with the girls. I really think that they're healthy, and with them, having coached Taylor, Alston, and Gia when they were freshmen and sophomores, looking at what they can bring to the table. If Clarion shoots the ball well, they're going to be, it would be probably like the first 2 games. But those girls are going to have to be on. Marley Klein's going to have to really have an impact in the paint. I like their chances, but again, when you have Lily Homan on the other side, she really plays very, very well.
Yeah, Marley Klein, I think, has really played well down the stretch as a sophomore. She's poising herself to have unbelievable junior and senior seasons the way she's playing right now, and could become one of the top big girls in District 9, I think.
Well, what I really like about the way that she plays is she reminds me a lot of Bobby Simpson. When Bobby played here at Clarion in the early 90s, 92, she graduated when they went to the state championship. And she's a sophomore, but I remember what Bobby was like as a sophomore, and she's very, very raw talent when she was younger, but honed those skills as she got older. And I think you're right. I think Marley Klein has the athleticism, to really make some noise in the league over the next 2 years.
Yeah, moving on to the 4A. There's a 4A semifinal game at DuBois High School at 7:00 tomorrow. We also have that on the YDL Sports Network. Chris Shaw, Scott Johnson will have that game for us. Really interesting game, in my opinion. It's St. Mary's versus Clearfield. It's the 2-3. St. Mary's has had a fantastic season, just a really great season. Jason Snellick was one of the top players in District 9 all year. Clearfield played in a really, really tough LHAC. You've got Hollidaysburg and Bishop Guilfoyle on your schedule. They've got one of the best freshmen in a long time in District 9 in Sonny Deal, probably the lead candidate to win Rookie of the Year on the YDL Sports Network. If she does, that'll be the third straight year they've had the Rookie of the Year. Hannah Glunt is now a junior. She was that 2 years ago. Mia Helsel was that last year, and she's now a sophomore. And that team, if St. Mary's doesn't show up, or if St. Mary's is taking them lightly, that team's going to beat them. It's a really good Clearfield team, and it's a battle tested Clearfield team. That should be a really good game.
Well, when you talk about being battle tested, that's why you put games like that on your schedule. They play in a really tough league, and they have some really, really tough games. And that's no matter if you're a freshman, sophomore, whatever level you're playing, when you prepare that way, and it could be, you're going down there and you're playing close games and losing to a very, very high quality team and a very, very tough schedule. It only provides you with opportunity come the District 9 playoffs to really do some special things. Like you said, you're battle hardened. You're ready. You've been in those situations where it's tough, where you're facing a pressure defense, where you're facing the clock, and you're under those pressure situations. It really helps when you've played a tough schedule rather than playing an easy schedule and kind of walking through it. You're not really prepared for the playoffs. They are, and if St. Mary's doesn't show up, it could be a really big upset, I think.
We're going to step aside here, take a commercial. When we get back, we'll look at the Friday AA boys bracket and Quad A boys bracket. You're watching the QR code on the YDL Sports Network, powered by Janney Montgomery Scott in Clarion.
For residential and commercial construction services you can trust, call Delta Contracting and Design Incorporated in Strattonville today at 814-764-5506. Or if it's concrete and excavating work you need done, then call Ace Concrete and Excavating at 814-764-5551. More on both Delta Contracting and Design and Ace Concrete and Excavating can be found at delcondesign.com. That's DELCON design.com.
As you approach retirement, it is important to accumulate assets and build a financial plan that can sustain your lifestyle during your golden years. While calculating the cost of your changing income needs can be daunting, our Retirement Income Evaluator can help you develop a roadmap for the future. To learn more, stop by our office located at 162 South 2nd Avenue in Clarion. Give us a call at 814-223-9990 or visit JanneyClarion.com. Janney Montgomery Scott, LLC, member NYSE, FINRA, and SIPC. Looking for affordable auto, home, and life insurance? Look no further than Allstate Insurance, the David Jones Agency in Clarion and Meadville. At the David Jones Agency, you get personalized attention from someone who lives where you do. The David Jones Agency meets you where you are. They are available during regular business hours, Monday through Friday at their office, via appointment at the office after hours, or remotely. The David Jones Agency also offers investment opportunities, including annuities and IRAs. The David Jones Agency can be reached in Clarion at 814-223-4000 and in Meadville at 814-337-5107. Buying, selling, or building a home? Then call Burford & Henry Real Estate today at 814-227-7355. For more than 15 years, Burford & Henry Real Estate Realtors have been ready to help you in your next property search. They are also the #1 agency selling more homes in the region than anyone else. And with their Showcase Homes divisions, their expert consultants can help you with building the home of your dreams. Check out Burford & Henry online at burfordandhenry.com. Burford & Henry Real Estate Services, something different. We're back here on the QR code, sponsored by Janney Montgomery Scott, also brought to you by Burford & Henry and Showcase Homes. David Jones Agency with locations in Meadville and Clarion, and Delta Contractor and Design. Just looking at Friday's games, and you and I will get a chance to talk about some of those after the games on Friday, that we're going to be doing the Carn City and Cranberry game right here on the YDL Sports Network. Andy Close will have the Otto Eldred and Port Allegheny game, but we'll get to those in a moment. As we take a look at the games that are in 4A, there's a couple 4A semifinals. That's a wide open bracket in 4A. Punxsutawney's the #1 seed, but they just got beat by the 3rd seeded Bradford Owls on Friday night up in Bradford. Bradford will play St. Mary's, and these games are all at DuBois High School. We'll also have those on the YDL Sports Network with Scott Johnson and Chris Shaw. Got a lot of basketball for you folks coming up here in the next few days, obviously. And but I look at that bracket. Clearfield is the 4 seed, 5 or 6 wins. People are like, what are they doing in the playoffs? They've also won like 9 District 9 titles in a row under Nate Glunt. Again, their record might be a bit deceiving. They are a young team, but at the same point in time, they are playing in that LHAC East again, and that's again just like on the girls' side. It's a brutal division. Central Martinsburg, Bishop Guilfoyle, Huntington, Tyrone, all of those teams. So, in a wide open bracket, could a team that nobody's expecting to win actually win?
Oh, absolutely. And I tell you what, I would never sleep on, Coach Glunt over there at Clearfield. I understand that they're young, but we just talked about it. They played a very, very tough schedule. And if you want to get prepared to make a run, that's what you do. You don't get an easy pancake type of schedule. You put some teams on there, whether they're in conference or out of conference, and you see where you measure up. It doesn't matter if they have 5 or 6 wins. People say, well, why did they enter? And I'm not a fan of saying, well, you enter to get the young kids playoff experience. They could. I wouldn't sleep on them. They could come out, really play well based on what they've done in the regular season and the games that they've played.
And Punxsutawney has some big wins. They beat Karn City, who's the KSAC champion. They beat Clarion. Randy Wright really has that team going well. They've got a really nice mix of players. Noah Kingersky, Noah Weaver, Jimmy Neese. You don't necessarily know who's going to beat you on a given night, and that makes them a hard defense.
It makes them very, very tough to play. And what I like about them is you go anytime you play at Punxsutawney, and Clarion always plays down at the Christmas holiday tournament. And, they just play that style of defense that they are in your face from the tip to the final buzzer. And like you said, depending on who gets the steal, who gets the pass ahead, that's who's going to score. They don't have set plays set for one player. They play that tough defense. And Randy, he really does have them playing well. And again, I don't mean to, I'm not downplaying it all, but this is a team that plays team basketball first. There's no I in team. There's no I on that team.
The Bradford St. Mary's matchup to me is really interesting as well. You got players like Jake Franz and Chase Weinberg, Talon Reese on Bradford, Quinn Gavazzi, Matt Davis, and some guys. It's again, these are two teams that have met already twice this year. They know everything there is to know about each other. They're just interesting matchups. Speaking of interesting matchups, the 2A also play on Friday night, and we already talked about where we're going to be. But though that's the bracket, I think everybody that's a basketball fan in District 9 is looking at right now. The 2A playoffs. You start with the top seed Red Bank Valley hosting the 8 seed Coudersport. Coudersport, not your normal 8 seed. They had some struggles early in the year, and then they got Riley Strike back. And Riley Strike has been a monster for them, coming off of a 32-point, 10-rebound performance last night in a pigtail win over Kerwinsville. That's a really interesting matchup. Red Bank Valley coming off of a couple of losses down the stretch. One that wasn't all that competitive against Karn City, and then another one to Clarion Limestone. I like Red Bank being the top seed against the 8, but that's not a game you can sleep on if you're the Bulldogs.
No, not at all. And I tell you, looking at, the team that I had at AC Valley this year and playing Red Bank, boy, are they well balanced. But I tell you what, I watched that game, against CL coming down the stretch, and CL was able to slow it down. They were able to be physical. And it surprised me. It's not a knock against CL, but they really played a style of basketball that I think almost surprised Red Bank Valley, and they really weren't able to overcome. They're athletic. They like to get out and run. They like to pressure defense, and that just didn't happen in a game against CL. And then you turn around and have CL and Karn City play the next night. And CL found itself in foul trouble with Jack Allen and Jace Ferguson both fouling out. So, depending on how physical these teams like to play, and they do love the defense. That's what I love about that 2A bracket is every single team on there plays tough defense. It'll just be, you know, the physical style of play, what the referees will let them get away with. And I mean that very seriously. I'm not blaming referees or anything like that, but you know, some nights it is, you know, back and forth. It's a physical game. Other times it's a little touchier. But it's very, very exciting to come out in that 2A bracket.
Yeah, you've got second seeded Otto Eldred, who went to the state semifinals last year. They're playing a Port Allegheny team that they've beaten twice this year. But again, you know, beating a team 3 times isn't always the easiest. That'll be an interesting matchup as well. And then obviously the game that you and I have, Cranberry against Karn City. I think Cranberry's probably a year away. I think next year they're going to make a serious run at it. But I think that, again, Karn City coming off the high of the KSAC championship, can they refocus? It probably helps that they've had a week to do so.
I think so. And, you know, I know Luke Kramer was kind of nursing some ribs that he had injured. He did play, obviously, in the championship game. But I think, you know, having him healthy, having the week to prepare. And, of course, you know, Bailey coming off, you know, his, you know, MVP year that he's had. And really the last couple of years, he's played very, very well. You know, but then you got Hobie Bartow and Callahan, and you look at it, but I think you're right. You know, my team at AC Valley, we played up at Cranberry and came away with probably an 8-point or 9-point win. Turned around a few weeks later, they mercy ruled us on our own floor. So I wouldn't sleep on them. If Karn City does not control the basketball, boy, does Cranberry like to get out and run, and can they? So it's going to be a very good matchup to watch. You know, can Karn City kind of corral that? Can Karn City kind of control the basketball? But they can run too. So it's going to be an interesting matchup, definitely Friday night.
And that brings us to the Clarion Limestone Ridgeway game. Clarion Limestone had their way with Ridgeway early in the season, but I think Ridgeway's gotten better and better and better as the year's gone on. The young kids are starting to play that system that nobody wants to play. As you well know, having seen it, done it. You know, that's a game. Again, all these games in double A, that's what makes it such an interesting bracket. You have favorites, but every single one of the favorites could be upset.
Absolutely. And if this were, you know, earlier in the year and it wasn't in playoff time and anything, I would probably just lean more towards CL. You know, I mean, they just have that experience and everything, but Ridgeway has been playing a lot better as of late. And that's what you need coming into the playoffs is you need to be on that nice win streak, or not necessarily win streak, but playing better basketball, not turning the ball over, pressuring the ball, doing those types of things. Now CL, they have really come back, and in a year, you know, under Coach Craig in his first year, I have thought really have played well. They really, in my mind, have outperformed what a lot of people thought they'd probably be able to do. And that's going to be an exciting game.
No question. And Jess, that'll do it for tonight's version of the QR code, brought to you by Janney Montgomery Scott. Jess and I will be back with another version of the show on Friday night. We'll have a little bit more clarity on what's going on at that point in time. Thanks for joining us here tonight on the QR Code Coaches Chalkboard Show, brought to you by Janney Montgomery Scott.